the airline sector is in a very, very, very bad shape. Because, of course, we had the COVID-19 crisis and the consequences of the lockdown and the closure of borders. So the main consequence was that during 3 months we had no passengers. And then a slow recovery came back, particularly in Europe and in Asia. And then the traffic, moved up in July, and we reached a threshold around 50% of the 2019 traffic in Europe and 60% in Asia, and particularly in domestic markets in China. But in August, we reached a ceiling, and we saw a little decline in traffic in Europe, whether in Asia and particularly in the domestic market in China. We saw a significant recovery, and now we are reaching something between 80 to 90% of the 2019 figure for the domestic market. For the international flights, you must know that the activity is almost dead. So we are less than 7 or 8% of the 2019 figures. So it means that the situation is still very, very worrisome for airlines. We are in a terrible situation. So we are asking governments to reopen borders and to help us to relaunch the traffic, in addition to what they have already done before, and to which we are pretty grateful.
Now, flyers are also very frustrated with the changing government rules, particularly around quarantines. And I know that you have been very vocal, very publicly against quarantines as a measure to control the outbreak. How are your conversations going with governments to change their stance, their approach to handling travel? Are you seeing any traction behind the idea of bringing in perhaps more rapid testing as a solution rather than quarantines?
That's a very good question, because we fully understand that governments want to avoid importing the COVID-19 in their country. So they want to protect their population. But on the other hand, we must be aware that putting people under quarantine is a complete stop to any travel, and particularly air travel. So we say to government, first of all, we should move to a kind of zero-case approach, to a risk-based approach, because we will have to live with the COVID-19 everywhere in the world. And the point is how to live with that, controlling the pandemic. And to do that, if we accept this approach, which is a risk-based approach, we propose to test passengers, so testing process, to ensure that we minimize the risk of virus transmission between two countries. So we are discussing with government. We are discussing within the ICAO. ICAO is the International Civil Aviation Organization in Montreal. We are discussing with the international organization, with the contribution of medical authorities, with WHO, for instance, to try to find the right process, knowing that we understand that the pharmaceutical industry, the diagnosis industry, has significantly improved the testing, especially by putting into the market, the antigen tests that are reliable, fast, scalable, that can produce in millions. So we are discussing that, and we hope that we could reach a result by the end of September to implement a testing process for passengers, and that would lead government to lift their travel restrictions, and particularly the quarantine.